pat yourself on the back because you are right here, right now for a reason. Welcome to the On Purpose podcast, where together we will empower ourselves and others to live lives with more passion and purpose. How you doing this morning, Jared?
I'm awesome, Ali. Welcome back to the good US of A. How was that trip?
Thank you. It was amazing. I went to Egypt, 3 different cities, Cairo, Luxor, and Alexandria, and got to see our last standing ancient wonder of the world, the Giza pyramids, and just amazing.
How big are they?
The biggest one is pretty massive.
Yeah.
It's like 30 stories, 30,
You just feel
35
small
stories.
standing next to it?
Oh, yeah, tiny. I'll have to show you some pics.
They built those by hand.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I think they had pulley systems and bulls pulling them and stuff. But yeah, and I didn't know this, but apparently they had this gloss where they were all white, shining brightly in the sun, and a gold tip when they were first built.
Oh wow!
They were just super, super bright.
Yeah, I definitely don't know enough about the Egyptian culture, but yeah, looking at your Instagram story and seeing the pyramids right there off the hotel was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing. Special energy for sure, and really grateful. It's I had no idea, but Cairo is the 6th largest city by population in the world. There's 25 million people there.
How was it getting around?
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Awful.
So packed. The traffic was insane. But you know what I really respected is everybody there is hustling, trying to sell something,
trying to make a
buck.
Yeah.
And even some of even kids, and I picked up on a lot of their marketing and sales tactics, and I was like, man, these guys are professionals. They're working with tourists. They know what they're doing. There's a lot of great examples that I'm sure I'll be pulling.
Did you get any money taken from you?
I got hustled once.
What'd you get hustled on?
Leaving the airport. One of the guys, and I was honestly just so tired. I knew I was getting hustled by $8-9, and I was just like, whatever, dude. Yeah.
For a ride or what?
Yeah, for a ride. Charged me 500 Egyptian pounds, and the going rate is 300. So I got hustled for $12, but I was like, whatever.
It was worth it.
Yeah, no, not
just
really.
Just to be out of it.
Yeah, I in retrospect, I wish I got out of it, but yeah, it was a little hustling here and there, but luckily I do speak a little bit of Arabic, thank God, because I feel like if I didn't have that, I would have been hustled real hard.
They see the tourists coming, they just know.
Yeah.
Huh,
yeah,
man.
They loved the mustache there, man.
Did they?
Oh, man, they were like, oh, nice mustache. Oh, freaking out. Yeah, they loved it. Every guy was just like, oh, very nice.
That is hilarious. Yeah. What about the On Purpose podcast shirt? I saw that you repped
Yeah, I was repping it, floating down on the Nile River,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was repping it.
Just be careful, community. On Purpose shirts are coming for you wherever you are, so make sure you're getting that purposeful practice in. Submit your answers and stuff to be surprised when one of these shirts just shows up at your house.
Yeah, submit it, and you might be rocking the On Purpose podcast t-shirt like Jared here.
Yeah, I love wearing this around. It's a good conversation starter.
Yeah, a lot of people ask. Great logo. So speaking of purposeful practice, Jared, what was some of the insights you had last week for problems you or 2 weeks ago on problems you once wished for? Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah. I hope you did. I hope you got in there and listened to some of the other episodes since we didn't have a new one for you, and kind of saw what you could take away from it the second time. For me, problems I once wished for really focused around finishing up my book. It had been a goal of mine. Well, I think I first told somebody I was going to write this book back in about 2010. So it had been something that I had told people I was going to do.
Wow.
And now it's 2019. I just finished it.
Nice. Congrats.
So thanks, man. Yeah, I'm excited to get it out to everybody. It should be up on Amazon right around Christmas, so that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But the problems, learning how to do the different formatting and working with editors and the proofreading, the copywriting, and all that stuff was things that I had to learn at a time. And now at this stage in the process felt like problems, I don't want to do it. It's why do I have to learn all this new stuff? But then when you stop and think about it, that's only possible because I actually wrote the book and I actually went through editing and I was actually on the verge of publishing. So for me, it all centered around that book and just really getting that accomplished.
Nice.
What about you?
Nice. For me, it was mostly what I spoke about for him in the last episode is quote unquote problems that come with the business.
Yeah.
Right. When I had bought out my business partners, and we were going through team transition, and then I had to revert back to answering lots of customer emails myself, and interacting a lot with customers, and kind of complaining about that, and then had to take a step and be like, what? I have customers, like I used to wish to have my own business at one point. And then on the gratitude piece, my practice being mostly vocal, but journeying a little bit more. And the trip to Egypt made me realize, like, I still have some work to do. There were some times where I was getting a little frustrated when we got ripped off with one of the taxi drivers. Dude, we got back at like 1 a.m. to one of the cities after spending the city all day, and he didn't know where our hotel was, and I was being a little stubborn because I could have turned on my data because we weren't around Wi-Fi, and taken the charge, the $15 a day or whatever it is.
Right.
But I was like, we already got ripped off. Like, this is this dude's job to get us to our hotel. I couldn't find it. Took like an extra hour, like asking people all this stuff. And that was one moment in the trip where I was like, I was definitely not grateful, and it just reminded me, like, I was able to come back to it the next day, and especially with Courtney, so I was just kind of like, be like, I'm grateful for that experience. Like, I was challenged, I kind of
you got to see extra parts of the city.
Yeah, no kidding.
How did you handle your business while being away? Did you completely disengage, or you still jump on and check in every now and then?
I was able to completely disengage,
nice.
Which was amazing. And I'm extremely grateful for Jenna, my assistant, who really held things down, and then my team, Tyler, my social media guy, and Josh, and then our web guy, really, really held it down. But mainly Jenna. Jenna held it down. So I'm really grateful for that, because I told myself, like, I never do this. I'm going to disconnect completely for a full week.
Right.
And I had the urges of, like, I checked on Black Friday just a little bit to see how sales were going, because I was kind of excited, like, oh, how many sales we're making. But as far as emails, nope. I let that inbox just
I saw your post 770 or something when you got back.
Like half of them are notifications, but but still.
How'd your Black Friday go?
Good. Yeah.
So the business can run without you being here every single day.
For a week,
for a short time,
which is nice to know.
Yeah, so it's good that you're able to balance getting away and things didn't cave in on you, and the world continues to move.
Yeah.
So now you're back,
ready to rock,
ready to finish 2019 strong.
Yep.
We're about a little less than a month away from a brand new year, and actually a new decade.
Yeah.
Right, we're in a new 10-year period.
Yeah, the 20s.
Yeah. So
that sounds weird.
It does, and actually, I toyed space until I saw somebody was like doing it, like the progression of their life for the last 10 years, and it's been amazing for me just to see where I've ended up. So I'm excited where the next 10 years take us.
Mm-hmm. Me too. We got a lot of big plans for OPP.
Yeah, and a lot of sudden, don't just sit back and wait until magically on January 1st the calendar switches and now all of a sudden you're back in action. Like, start getting moving now. Yeah. Start creating that momentum.
Definitely.
Cool. So so I wanted to talk about today's episode, and this one kind of came to me just listening to a lot of people and just kind of reflecting back on my life and things I've done, and I think that most of us have done, where we kind of commit to something, but we don't fully commit to it. Mm-hmm. Right? We want certain things in our life, but we're only willing to put in about 50%. So we call this one, still hiding in the closet. And by that I mean, are you involved in things, but you're not fully there. So you're not really setting yourself up for success because you're not completely committing. Mm-hmm. Right? And it came to me because I've had so many people come up and talk to us about listening to the podcast and how much they love the podcast. But there are people, fortunately enough, we're still grassroots enough, small enough that we know who's submitting practice. And we know who's doing like weekly practices. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these people I've never seen anything from. And it got me thinking, if you're listening and you like it and you listen every weekend or every week, why are you not fully committing, which is that follow-up piece? And I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about that because I think that applies to many people, a lot of aspects of many people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, so like, I guess for me, I want to know, like for you, Aldi, give me an idea of or thoughts about why do you think people say they want something, and especially it ties perfectly into the new year, right? We're gonna have new eating habits, diets, workout routines. I'm gonna read more. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna get promoted. I'm getting a new job. Yet, sadly, for the vast majority, I would say, by the middle of February, they've forgotten that and they just fell right back into the routine, and they're going to have a whole nother year repeating the same year before. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a mix of a few things, and it's what we've said in previous episodes. It's a reason to not follow through with a lot of things, and it's not having a strong enough why. I think is the primary reason of the reason why you're trying to lose those extra pounds or write your book or why it's that, and then also the comfort aspect. If you're comfortable where you're at, and that goes in with the why as well. Like a lot of huge success stories, you see people have risen from nothing. They were very, very uncomfortable. People that didn't have things given to them in their lives. They didn't have the comfort. Sometimes were homeless. Sometimes, like your Oprah Winfrey's, a lot of people like that who have come from heavy adversity. Some of these pharaohs that I learned about in Egypt, lots of adversity to rise to the top. So when you're comfortable, and especially in today's day and age, like we've talked about before, you can go to jail and you get food, shelter, a community, friends. We have this comfort. So I think it's your why, the fact that we get comfortable, and distractions and kind of this expectation, especially today, I'm guilty of it too, of expecting things immediately, that instant gratification, to where even something like grabbing your phone and checking Facebook, Instagram, whatever, an instant little hit of dopamine of a like or a comment, and we expect things instantly, to where a lot of goals that are substantial take time. It takes time to really chip away at it daily, and we end up just choosing to go back in that routine and don't really reflect, don't have that stillness that so much of us need. In the book that I just finished, Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday, highly recommend it. Really brought some good insights for me. One of the ideas is that one of the hardest things for us to do in today's world is sit in a room and be still. That's so hard for us. So hard. They did an experiment where they put people in a room with a little shocker and they could electrocute themselves. And like 80% of people just still like electrocute themselves so they could feel something.
Oh, God.
Because stillness people are petrified of that. He also gave another example of the late Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers, right? The old woman.
Yeah, she's like a comedian, talk show host.
Yep. And the author, Ryan Holiday, described it as a haunting clip of Joan Rivers. And they're like, why and how do you still work so hard? You're already a legend. Like, she was well into her 70s at this point. So, because you know what's my biggest fear that drives me? This. And she held up an empty calendar. And she said, the moment that people aren't booking me for gigs and booking me for stuff is the moment that I don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And even though she's already accomplished so much in her life, and Ryan Holiday went on to describe how, like, she was so uncomfortable with stillness, with silence, with even at the end of her career when she's accomplished so much, of like still needing to have these like back to back meetings, and not wanting to focus on like family or her last years or anything like that, like still wanted this. And I think that goes for a lot of us, and I'm guilty of it too, of feeling like we always need to be doing something.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a difference between being busy and being productive. And I'll tell you right now, you couldn't put me in a room and just expect me to sit still. Like, that's probably not going to happen. I'm not super good at that, but I do think there's time and place for stillness in your mind, and kind of quieting your thoughts and quieting the world around you, even if it's, which is why meditation is such a positive upswing right now, and people are starting to see the value of it, because it's just a few moments maybe where you truly are just listening to yourself. I think, honestly, a lot of people will hold back from their own goals, which is, to me, that's kind of heartbreaking to me when people set the goals for themselves and they know they have their own dreams, but they don't fully commit to chasing it for a couple reasons. One, there's fear, right? There's fear of what if I fail, fear of what if I succeed, fear of what if it doesn't turn out to be what I expected it to be, fear of what are other people going to think about me for having this dream, having this goal. I went through that writing that book and sending it to the editor. I talked about that in a couple different videos. You know, she just said that was the worst book ever in the world and I'm an idiot for writing it. Like, that would have sucked. Mm-hmm. So maybe I don't ever send it. Maybe I sit back. I think you hit it on the head. I think comfort is the killer to drive for a lot of people, right? When we're uncomfortable, when you're first getting out of college and you have no money and you have to, you know, you're looking for that job so you can get the apartment and attract the, you know, the lifetime mate and buy the car and do all the experiences you want in life, you're hungry. So you're willing to do different jobs. You're willing to do different tasks. And then slowly along the way, we find that comfort zone. You know, we have enough money to live. We have a nice house, just like you said. We can flip the heater. You know, we have heat at the flip of a switch. We have lights at another switch. We have air conditioning if it's hot. And it's tough then to choose to be uncomfortable. When you know comfort's right here at your fingertips, but you have to make the hard choice to be uncomfortable to really achieve your dreams, it's hard for people to do that. Mm-hmm. And then I think the other thing that holds us back is the people we surround ourselves with.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So this book, I'm the only person I know that's written a book. I know a lot of people that say they want to write books, and a lot of people that say I'm going to write a book, and I have an idea for a story, and some people have even put it on paper. But I'm the only person in my circle that I know wrote a book. So to get that encouragement to help with it, I had to change circles and surround myself. And luckily through social media stuff, it's easy to do. I put myself in different circles where everybody had written a book. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that big a deal. Like, dude, you're supposed to write books. Like, if you want to speak, if you want to teach, you have to write a book. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, one circle, nobody's ever done it, so it's kind of impossible. And the other circle, it's an expectation, and you're kind of abnormal if you haven't done it. Mm. And I think that is probably the biggest way you can challenge yourself. If you have these dreams and goals and it's going to require you to get uncomfortable, put yourself in a circle where what you're trying to do is average. What you're trying to do is expected, not so far abnormal that's easy to make excuses. If you stay around people who have never done what you're going to do, it's easy to be like, I'll get to it next year. I'm going to hang out because nobody over here is doing it either. But if you transplant yourself to a different circle where everybody's kind of like, hey, dude, why haven't you written a book? You've been talking about it for almost 10 years. You still haven't got it done? Mm-hmm. It changes things. Yeah. You know what I mean? It pulls you out and kind of forces you to do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, definitely. So how are you able to change your circle? Because I think social media is one thing.
Yep.
But have you built any relationships where you've met some of these authors in person and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Nice. How are you able to do that?
I just message them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so I engage, you know, and that's one of the things we've talked about. We're both heavily engaged with our online community, right? Like, I don't just go to my page to see who liked it, how many likes, hearts, whatever. Like, if somebody takes the time to say, hey, thank you for posting this, you know, it really resonated with me, I respond, hey, you know, I appreciate this. Maybe you're interested in that, or vice versa. If I see them post something that interests me. So, no, I've set up coffee meetings on through social media. I've had phone call conversations with people. I actually started a new law enforcement training program with people that I met on social media. So I think it's just seeing the opportunities that arise around you is just that, kind of like we talked about before, as opportunities, not as reasons why things can't be done. Yeah. You know, there was a time, quite honestly, when I was growing up. So for high school, if I had to write a paper on something, I literally had to drive to the library, check out the encyclopedia, hope nobody else got the one issue of that encyclopedia that covered, you know, the pyramid. So if anybody had M through P checked out, well, I had to get a new topic. I had to pull it out and look, And it was already, you know what I mean? The fact that I'm reading this book means it's already outdated. Like, things have already changed from the time somebody wrote this to where I'm reading it.
Right. Dude, that's
Right.
crazy.
That's how I did my research projects. So
Yeah,
in
it was
that
an
time,
amazing
if I
time.
was like, okay, I need to find authors, would I do like the yellow page? Like, it'd be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now with it
Yeah.
right here, I'm literally like, I go on LinkedIn, I put out a question. Hey, anybody that's written a book, can you help me with this? Like, that's how I got my editor. I put it on social media. Hey, I have my manuscript written. I need an editor. I'm looking for recommendations for people I trust. And I got an editor. So just kind of, so I think if you want to change your circle, you can do it.
Yeah.
But it's uncomfortable, right? Like, they may not like you. You may not be, it's different. And I think for too many of us, we look for that comfort zone, and we allow the comfort zone to kill dreams and goals.
Yeah. No, fear for sure.
Fear and comfort, though, I think they're two different things.
Yeah.
Fear is kind of being afraid.
Right.
Comfortable is just being like, man, my life's comfy.
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand. And like, even on social media, for example, people fear what others will think. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say like, oh, like, don't, and mainly when I was in college, I'm recalling like just hearing how other people viewed social media, like, oh, like, don't reply to that, or like, don't, I don't reply to comments, like, it makes you look like needy, or like something, like, just
Yeah.
have this
Yeah.
just weird, like,
They're posturing.
they're what?
It's like posturing, right? It's like being
right.
in public,
Right.
and like, I'll say hi to you, but you got to say hi first.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so then that
exactly.
kind of translates to social media, where if you comment and say, "Hey, great post, Ali,"
Just a little
well, you
like.
said hi first, so now I can just be like, "I got you." Like,
Right.
Versus being engaged, be like, "Hey, dude, I appreciate it. Let me know how I can help you."
Right, and a lot of people, you'll notice a lot of people don't reply to comments. Maybe they'll just like it. That you're right. They don't engage, and I think a lot of that is fear of what will people think? How do I look? And this is just in social media. So much
Yeah.
more of like reaching out
Dude, and
having humility to be like, hey, you've done this. Can I
Yeah.
take you out to coffee and like learn from you?
Right. Why are we so? And I think that's another reason people will hold themselves back, is we don't want to admit we don't have all the answers. As adults, we try to put ourselves in little situations where we always know everything.
Yeah.
Right? And like, when's the last time you went out and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Hey, I need help with this. Like, very rarely will we do that. And if we do reach for help, it's within the same circle we've been reaching for help for years.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times they don't have the answers you're looking for, or you'd already moved past it.
And how does that feel when someone tells you that? Like, dude, I need help. Can you help me? Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, how does that make you feel when someone comes to you with that?
Dude, you drop everything to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like you want to help.
Yeah. When's the last time somebody came to you and like, nah, dude, I don't have time. Do this yourself.
Right.
Right now, I'm not saying you do everything for people. Like, sometimes my help may be like, hey, here's a good resource. Look it up and let me know what you think.
Yeah.
I may not always give you the answer,
Yeah.
but I'm at least going to engage.
Yeah,
And
when you're humble and have humility, people want to help you. Even the people
Yeah.
at the very top, like the mentors. Like I'm getting another breakfast with Kurt Richardson.
Crazy.
Built Otter Products, multi-billion
Yeah.
dollar company, and he loves the questions I ask him. He is so ready to answer them. He's so ready to help and give advice, and it's because the way that I approach with humility and admitting like, oh, like, yeah, I don't have any experience in that.
Yeah. But I think that's a huge piece. If people are really going to commit to things and they really want these changes in their life, whether it's pursuing a dream, achieving new goals, whatever it is, be humble about it and be okay not knowing everything.
Yeah.
But then you also have resources right there. If you'll just simply ask for help, so many people will be willing to help you.
Yeah.
I put out a post yesterday, and I thanked all the people that helped me along the way of writing the book. And it's just a public way to thank them, and it's crazy the response you get.
Yeah.
People want to help. Like, I don't believe that the world is as evil as everybody says and all the bad stuff constantly. If you create the right networks and you're humble and you bring value to other people, it will return to you tenfold, guaranteed.
Yeah. And we attract what we believe, right? So if we think the
Always.
world is that way, that's what we're going to see.
And if that's how we live it, right, that's how our social media is conducted, that's how our relationships are conducted, that's how we view what we want to achieve in life is, oh, it's not possible, it's too hard, they're too bad, right? Then that's what we're going to have.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't have it both ways. You can't have crazy growth with a negative mindset. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the busy piece, because I am
busy versus productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been guilty of this, and this trip, being able to disconnect, has really helped me realize that I've been kind of letting myself down and intentionally holding back from being my best, from a mixture of always being busy.
Yep.
And also, I think of like comfort, seeking, like I was telling you, with not drinking any alcohol or using any cannabis for almost 2 months. I've realized that has been a comfort place that I go to.
Then the use has been comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The use has been comfort, and not that I'm saying it needs to be given up completely, but this experience has made me realize that, one, I don't want to and definitely don't need to be using cannabis nearly as much as I was before this experience. And kind of like the whole being uncomfortable, like if you don't have uncomfort and challenges in your life, then life will find a way to bring them to you. And I think that's exactly what happened to me, because I've been putting out the energy of like, I'm very grateful for what I've accomplished and what I've done, but that I want to get to this next level.
Yeah.
That I want to, and I wanted to hang on to these like little comfort things that I really didn't need.
That didn't serve you.
Right. And I needed that. Like, I can't tell you, quite frankly, and I know some of our listeners will be able to relate, some of them won't, but I've been a cannabis user, and I can't tell you, it's been at least over 5 years since I've gone a full month without smoking any cannabis. Alcohol, yeah, but cannabis has always been kind of like, I'm going to smoke a little here, smoke a little there. And with having that completely out of my life, not only does it bring some more clarity, but it opens up time for other things. I have to find other things to do with my time. So I've been reading more, I've been writing more. Yeah. My goal for next year is going to be music based. I want to learn how to play the piano.
Oh, nice.
Some other leisure things, putting other things in my schedule that make it more not just like busy, to where I've been putting so much time into, and a lot of this is coming from Stillness is the Key, of like productive busy work, that I think I have not been operating at my highest level, because I'm spending so much time just getting menial tasks done, that if I can split it with productive leisure, have some meditation, have some reading, have some MMA, have some piano, whatever it is, then the time that I am working, I can really dial in and really work at my best thing. Like, I've been in this grind mentality, and it's promoted throughout our culture, especially in the United States. Glorified work, 60, 80-hour work weeks. You got to grind.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, you have to work hard, but I think that we lose sight and importance and value of family, of stillness, of happiness. And I saw that a lot in Egypt. Like, yeah, these people are working hard, and they may not ever have wealth, right? They may have to work a lot, but a lot of them are really happy. And a lot of them are very present. I feel like with all the buzz, we're so busy all the time that we don't even have time to stop and, like you've said in previous times, interact with your checkout person, with the barista at your coffee place, to where we're so in our phones, so busy.
Yeah, you said something I think is interesting. You talked about the cannabis and your usage, and then you said, some of our audience will relate and some won't. But I think all of the audience should relate, because while you may not all be using cannabis as kind of that little escape, that little crutch, that little habit that you've carried with you, that you kind of know you probably need to move past to get to a next level, but because it's been there, because it's comfortable, So why it may not be cannabis for a lot of our listeners, it could be unhealthy eating. It could be not getting in their workouts, not drinking enough water, not reading books, not doing the things you know you have to do, right? Because that is exactly it. Comfort isn't always physical comfort. Sometimes it's that mental piece of, hey, I've always done this. It's kind of just who I am, and we allow it to stay with us even though it's no longer serving us.
Yeah, escapism.
Yeah.
Really like leaving the present moment, whether it's TV, alcohol, cannabis.
You know where you see that a lot is in marriages. Right? Think about this. Like, just say Andrea and I, for example. We got married in 1999, so 27 and 24. Dude, we're completely different people now.
Yeah.
Imagine if, though, if our whole marriage, when one of us was trying to grow, the other person was like, well, I can only grow, but I got to bring all the stuff I've always been doing with me. Well, one's going to outpace the other, right? Because one's like, hey, I'm moving forward. I'm learning. And the other one's bringing all this baggage. And I think a lot of us live our lives that way. We want new adventure. We want new gains. We want new everything. But we only want it if we can bring everything else with us. And the reality is you got to let some stuff go to move forward.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, for me, getting a book done, what did I have to let go? I had to let go some past feelings I had towards people in my life. I had to let go the fear of being judged. I had to let go of the fact that nobody I knew had ever written a book. And what does that mean? I don't know. You know, I mean, like all the things, like what if it's crazy successful? What if I can't handle that? What if it's a failure and everybody laughs at me that I even took the time to write it? But if you're not willing to face any of that, if I'm only in 50%, I'm only in a 25%, then you can't expect 100% of results, and you're never going to get where you want to be playing things safe, period. You know,
take risks.
And I think it's funny because you talked about our society, and I forget where I heard this the other day, but we're the richest, wealthiest, safest, most dominant society in like the history of man, right? You could debate some other ones, but we're up there. Yet Americans are fatter, unhappier, unfulfilled more now than ever, right? You're like, what? We have more than we've ever had, yet we're still unhappy?
Yeah. I read this statistic yesterday. We have more deaths from obesity now than we have like health illnesses. We have more deaths by mistakes than we do murders and violence. We have more self-inflicted trauma.
Yeah.
And everything now, all the bad is self-inflicted. Like we have all of the resources. We have all the answers. Now we just need to, I think, kind of backpedal a little bit. I mean,
we got to face it, right? And that, just like you're talking about, the facing it means we got to come out of living this 50% of our life, come out of hiding in the shadows, and really be who we're supposed to be. The biggest motivator for me to commit 100% to getting a book done was the fact that if I don't tell these stories about the people that helped shape who I am, and I because I'm scared, because I'm worried, I'm nervous, blah, 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 and I die, guess what? Nobody ever knows. Nobody ever knows about the people that helped shape me. So what a great honor it is to be able to get out and share these stories while a lot of them are still alive and I'm still alive, so we can encourage others to find their stories. But now think about this. Like, how many people will die tomorrow keeping their talent to themselves?
Yeah.
Right? Well, I think Les Brown says that the richest place on earth is the graveyard.
Yeah.
Right? The ideas, the dreams, the goals, the inventions that nobody ever knows about because we played life safe. We stayed in the closet. We were afraid to step out and be like, here I am. And honestly, that's the thing I value probably most about you, and what probably why this works and why we were attracted to work together is the fact that you are you. You know what I mean? Good and bad, ups and downs. You're you, man. And you put it out there for people to see and to live and to encourage them to do it too. And the beautiful thing is when you put it out there, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to do things. You're like, okay, I won't do that again. But the fact is, by that mistake you made, you now learn something. And hopefully somebody else is seeing you do it so they learn something. So you're teaching people. But none of this is possible if we play life small. And we called it hiding in the closet. You can call it playing life small. You can call it dimming your own light so that you fit in instead of standing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a short journey. Like, stand out. Don't take your gifts with you to the graveyard. Share them. And you're a great storyteller. And you attract people to you. But if you're always worried about how I'm going to be judged, does this group think this is right? Oh, do they think this is right? And I'm playing back and forth. You're never going to have that massive success.
Yeah.
And that's what I want our community to take away is get out there and shine. There is nothing enviable. And maybe that's a little harsh, but I'm going to say it anyhow. There's nothing enviable about being around somebody that has great potential, that can change lives, but they hide because they don't want to stand out.
Yeah. No, that's the worst. And I think another thing we do too is compare.
Oh, dude, comparison kills you.
Comparison's a huge killer. And I think it's one of the healthiest things to encourage others. When you're an encourager to do that, and you don't see that too often, you don't see people being like, hey, you're great at that, man. Like, you have a gift, you have a skill. Not a lot of encouragement, not a lot of praise. When you build people up like that, it comes back. People will reciprocate that, see the greatness in you when you can see the greatness in others. And when we can all be happy for each other, we realize that everybody has, like in a previous episode, everyone has that greatness. We're not all going to be good at everything. Like engineers, like I've struggled a lot with comparison, and always want to be. And I think a lot of that was with how I was raised. Sure. Especially with my father, like his expectation, always wanted me to be the best at everything, the smartest, the best athlete, this, that. And I've just barely kind of been realizing I have my strengths. Yeah. I have my strengths, and there's some things that I'm just not good at. And I can be very happy and admire so many things that I'm not good at that other people are great at. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think sometimes, and I feel pretty good about where my head's at with a lot of that, but I still struggle with comparison sometimes, and I can just only imagine how, especially our youth, how much they struggle with comparison, especially with social media, and
it's the flip side of it.
Yeah, to where it can be unhealthy. But I think if we can get to a place, and again, kind of practice that praise as opposed to envy, and like you're saying, be not envying anyone for what they have or what they're good at. That's when we can really succeed ourselves.
Yeah, and if you appreciate what other people are good at, it allows you to appreciate what you're good at. To me, honestly, it'd be a boring world if I was good at everything.
Yeah.
Like, what would I need anybody else for?
Right.
If I was just good at everything I ever want to do, what would be the baseline for interacting with other people? And for me to be successful, I don't have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
I can be good at what I'm good at and surround myself with other people that are good at what they're good at, and together we can, you feed off of each other. And just like we talked about before, create momentum.
Yeah. So you just got the book published.
It's
finished.
It's done.
Finished.
It's
awesome.
there. It's like a 72-hour window, and then it comes up. Yeah.
Dang.
Man.
So congrats on that.
Dude.
So you said this was a goal back in 2010.
2010 was the first time I remember telling somebody. I even remember telling them I was going to write a book and what it was called.
Wow. Who did you tell?
Jan Harrison. She was one of the deans of students at Rocky Mountain High School. It was when I was the school resource officer over there. Okay. And we were sitting, and she's a very cerebral, very smart lady. And we were just having talk about dreams and stuff. Like, I'm going to write a book. Here's what it's titled. Here's what the premise is going to be. And it's literally exactly what I wrote.
Wow.
But I had to find courage. I had to find a different circle.
Yeah.
And it took time. But like you said at the very beginning, too many times we'll retreat if it's not easy, if it's not immediate. This was a 10-year process.
Yeah.
But I learned so much in that time that, the next book will come quicker.
Yeah. So what do you think in this process were the primary reasons? Because you definitely set goals and achieve them, and you're an achiever. What do you think about this one, or just in general, are the things for you, the primary things for you that cause you to hold back or not fully commit to something?
I think it's very similar to what our community will face, is just the worry about being judged.
Yeah, was that the biggest one?
Yeah,
fear.
because nobody, like I said, nobody I know had written a book.
Right.
So like I'm like, I don't know, people think it's gonna be good. So just throwing it out there and having people decide. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's sometimes when you put yourself out like that, you gotta be okay with not being for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think so that requires less ego, right? Because if you're heavy on the ego, then that means like it's important to you to be liked all the time, like how they view. Whereas, and ego is definitely something I struggled with earlier in life for sure. But I think I'm at a point now where I know like this is something that I need to do for me. And if it brings joy and value to others, I'm grateful for it and I love it. And if some people hate it, man, that's cool too. They can hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just accepting that and being okay with it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a crazy journey, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Well, congrats on getting it done. That's exciting.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was, kind of follow up your question. I was talking with Andrea the other day, and it's having author after your name opens up other doors. Really, it's just an opportunity creator.
Definitely.
And writing the book isn't the hardest part of it. I think why it opens up doors and why people see it differently once you write books is because you actually completed an entire process. Because you think about like, what else in my life can I do? I could come to you and be like, hey, dude, I finished this. Where you could actually go pick up my finished product and see it.
Right.
Like if I build something, you could do it, but I'm not a builder. Like this is literally a tangible thing that I've created in my life, and I think that's why it's so valuable to me. Is like I shared stories that were important to me and from my heart that I hope people will resonate with. But then I literally created something, dude, that 4 or 5 generations may read. Like it may carry on. Like some kid somewhere that's like my kid's friend
Yeah.
may find it in the closet at the house at a sleepover and read it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's so humbling.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited to read it.
I know I'm excited for you to read it.
So, with that, would you say that, and it sounds like it, but would you say that this specific goal of writing the book has been the one in your life that you've been holding back on the most?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the MMA fights, I was held back, but I don't think it was necessarily my doing. I think it was just time in life, having the kids and stuff. It just wasn't working out, but I got it done. No, I think the book was completely in my control. I could have been writing it many years ago.
Right.
Um,
So moving forward, how can you overcome that? And I want to say it's a tendency to protect yourself from fear of judgment
Yeah.
or anything, but if you feel that tendency arise again, how do you think that you're going to be able to overcome that?
I think for me, I've really just kind of embraced, and it's being around people like you, being around Ryan at the gym, being around people that embrace adversity a little more. It puts you in a frame of mind when you're like, okay, this seems tough. Ooh, that seems like a lot of work. You're almost like, all right, I got to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas in the past, I'm like, that seems like a lot of work. And hey, what do you think? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, it's too much work. I'll be okay, yeah, it's too much work. And you hang out with that guy.
Right.
But because I've done different things, I'm in different circles, like we've talked about a bunch of times. Now, like you see it, and you're like, okay, I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just because I've gotten older and I appreciate my limited time on life, limited time that I have left in life. But I want to accomplish a lot and I want to experience a lot. And I can't do that doing the same shit I did yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think it just shifts your mind. But that's the beauty of it. Like, there's nobody in this community, there's nobody I know that can't have a shift in their life starting now.
Yeah.
Just
Amen.
decide you want more. Decide you're willing to put yourself around others that want more. Be accountable. Be vulnerable. Share your ideas. Share your dreams. Share your goals. And then work for them.
Yeah.
Like, think about it, neither of us have accomplished anything. Like, let's just be honest. Neither you nor I have accomplished anything that other people can't do.
Definitely.
There's nothing special about what we've done. Zero.
100%.
Yet we set dreams, goals, and we worked.
Yep.
And when we struggled, we found people to help us.
Yeah.
So it's available, and that's what getting out of the closet does. That's what like living your life loudly allows you to do. You attract that kind of person.
Yeah.
You attract more opportunities. So let's get rid of the excuses. Let's get rid of the comparison that, this person has it so much easier. That person has it so much easier. If only I was this person. If only I was born there, I could have. No, bullshit. Like, you can do it. But unfortunately for many of you, you are keeping you from doing it, period.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, and I want to take a moment to be vulnerable and express some things too that I've been hiding in the closet and holding me back too. And I think the biggest thing that's been withholding me from fully committing to reaching that next level is escapism. You know, like I've shared in previous episodes, I've finally have come to the realization that Adderall, taking ADHD medicine, was a form of escapism for me. To an extent, it helped, but I'm seeing now that it did take me away from being my full, present, authentic self. Yeah, maybe I can have 20 phone calls or get 2x amount of work done, but the quality of it, the full 100% Ali isn't there. And I've seen that from a lot, and it was a spiraling effect, because I worked so many hours, I would feel the need for more escapism after I worked, whether it was smoking cannabis, watching TV, pornography, whatever it was, any negative form of escapism, because I felt like I had worked so much. And it was like this cycle kind of that I'm seeing now.
Dude, it was literally a loop.
Right.
You did one thing, which fed you to do another thing, which then, okay, now I got to go back and do this again because I had this time down. Boop, boop, you're in a cycle.
Mm-hmm. Lack of sleep, less hours of sleep. So many things that I was like, wow, these things that I had told myself were helping me perform better in the long run were actually decreasing my performance. And just in the few months, and of course it's still something that I have to be disciplined about day in and day out. But ever since, deciding not to take Adderall and kind of like I was talking about, challenges coming to me with, having pretrial services and not drinking any alcohol, not having any cannabis. Again, I'm not saying that these are I'm going to rid completely from my life.
But you don't have to qualify it.
Right.
You know what I mean? The fact is, you're aware.
Yeah. It's been this awareness, and all of the time, any of that escapism, I think, is just a signal that you're wanting more, and whatever's in your life, like you want more and you want to do something about it. And I think for me, like being an entrepreneur for over 4 years, having my own business, and kind of feeling like I've shared with you, like we've kind of hit this ceiling. I think I've been feeling like this desire of some escapism a little more. And I've told myself, like, I deserve it, right? I'm working so hard. I deserve to relax and kick back. And I still think I do, but I want to do it with like stuff like Egypt, you know, stuff like traveling. And it's, at least for me,
I think there's a difference there. One, your escape there is with positive experience that enlightens you.
Right, and that's not really an escape. It's more.
Well, it's a break from your routine.
Right, but I was so present.
Yeah.
Break from
But it's outside of what you normally do, which in turn feeds growth, right? Because you come back, you saw the little kids, even something as small as noticing how they're hustling on the street. Well, that's a business tactic. There's literally probably something you learn from them. You're like, hey, we're going to try this.
Yeah, I did.
Whereas on the other side, the escapism pulled you away from where you wanted to be. Right? And I think you're sharing that is huge for our community, because I think many people do that is they escape to drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, their vice, because it's that place they go that allows them to not be really fulfilling their dreams.
Even social media, having a couple beers in the evening, watching a TV, watching your show. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do these things, but I'm saying to be aware of them and how much time you're putting into them.
Nobody's ever achieved a goal watching a TV show.
No, or a good idea or anything, or, maybe smoking weed, you've come up with a good idea, but consistently, no. And I've reached this point with these recent things in my life of like, damn, I know what I need to do, and I'm aware that I definitely need and have been cleansing a lot more of like just overall substance use overall.
And I think, we all have our own opinions on that, but I remember when we first started and you were kind of like, dude, you don't want to dab at all, like not one dab. And I'm like, dude, I like consistency. I like, right? And that's, to me, that's kind of where you're at now, is you have like every moment's consistent basis for decision making because there's no impairment.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's for everybody. That's definitely for me. Is I value the consistency. I value knowing how my decisions are going to be made, which is why I just do what I do. So, should we get these guys some practice?
Yeah, definitely. So we got purposeful practice again. Get it in for this month, next month. I don't know how long we're gonna run it, but probably not more than 1 or 2 months.
Oh man, people got to get out and get going if they want these shirts. And stuff.
I'd say probably no past January. So in the next 4 to 6 weeks, make sure to get your purposeful practice in, and stop hiding in the closet. Come on, be a starter. Get on the field. Let's play. Let's play, because that's the way you get better. So first piece of purposeful practice is: are there things in your life you're intentionally holding back from? For me, it was just holding back from reaching the next level. I've been using escapism. A little bit of escapism, like Jared shared. Fear, a little bit of fear holding back from the book. So think about some things where you're holding back. Number 2, what unique talents does the world not know about? And then number 3, why are you holding yourself back from your own unique greatness? Again, we touched on a few things: fear, being quote unquote busy, comfort, etc. And then the last and most important piece, which may earn you a On Purpose t-shirt, is email your practice to onpurpose.official@gmail.com.
Awesome, my friend. It's good having you back. I'm glad the travel went well. Sorry you got hustled for $12 extra. $12,
you got me.
And as always, community, we appreciate you. We can't do this without you, and we are excited for not only to take a moment and look back at where we've been. This is episode 38, but also where we're going in 2020 is going to be big, and we can't do it without you. So again, we appreciate you being here. And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see everybody next week.